Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
How do you feel about flat Earth? You're running with flat Earth theory?
Yeah.
So I'm from Maine. I'm a lobster fisherman, right? So my uncle one time, he got in his boat and he went way past the 3 mile line, all the way out towards Canada. And I swear to God, we never saw that again. He went all the way past towards Canada, and I believe personally that he sailed off the edge of the earth. There's always the Marianas Trench, and you know that it splits the earth in half, right? And so if you fall off the edge of the earth, you just go straight in.
I love starting Fridays with just heartwarming things. Probably shouldn't listen to that. I was wrong. I'm sorry if you guys heard that. That's a flat earth person, and we understand that flat earthers are evil and bad, and you can't, but it's just fun, Flat Earth Friday. We should do more of that. Yeah, that to me, it's like, yeah, so my uncle, I'm a lobster. I do lobster stuff. I chase lobster places, forget about it. I chase lobster. And my uncle, he got in his lobster boat and he took off. Never saw him again. Just never, just gone. Right, fell right off the whole thing. So how do you feel about vaccines? Happy Friday. Oh, my goodness me. Every once in a while, you need to be reminded that there are things that go on. And there are people out there, and you just sit back and you're like, wow, you know what? We're sitting here fighting over this, and there are people out there that believe the earth is flat. And you know what? Good for you. You found something you enjoyed. You sunk your teeth into it. I got no problems with it. I don't care if you think it's a conspiracy theory or not. Speaking of conspiracy theories, I don't know if you guys have heard this. So if you want to find people that are, to me, real when it comes to delivering news, that give you, they're going to give you some opinion, but everything they do in so many ways is based strictly on what I like to call fact. There are a couple good places. People ask me every day, where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go? Where do you go? I go a lot of places, right? I try to. And it is hard to find people who want to deliver you something and are willing to, in this day and age, speak against even their own quote-unquote side of the aisle. And Breaking Points is very interesting. You've never seen them. They were on the Hill. It's Crystal and Sager. They were on the Hill, and they did what I think is a phenomenal job. One is to the right, the other's to the left. They each will have conversations. They have their points and topics that they talk about, and at the same time, they can look at each other and go, you know what? Even though I'm on this side of the aisle, I agree with what you're saying over there, and vice versa. It's the thing that we try to do here, which is meet in the middle. Sager, though, has been very, and he's the one that's on the right, has been very, very, very on point when it comes to looking at the Wuhan, quote-unquote, conspiracy. So he broke this down the other day. Something came out. There was a report. Nobody covered it. Nobody did. Nobody covered it. Nobody talked about it. But he did. Talking about circumstantial evidence, because let's be real, at this point in time, we're not getting anything else. We're going to have to play detective from thousands of miles away and put the dots together. But in this report, there was a lot of stuff that you sit there and go, if you presented me with something and you told me these are the hypotheses of all the things that we think may have led to this virus, it's hard to go against this.
The new information concerning the circumstances of the origins of COVID comes from a new addendum by the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Quote, the preponderance of evidence suggests SARS-CoV-2 was accidentally released from a Wuhan Institute of Virology laboratory sometime prior to September 12, 2019. 2 months before reports indicate that researchers at the lab itself fell so sick they required hospitalization.
2 months before. And then they start breaking things down. And the funny thing is the way that they broke things down is stuff that the average person would never even thought of. And it's part of being that detective side of things where you're looking for things. You're going, okay, how do we get from point A to point B? What is it that we're looking at? How do we do this? How do we do that? How do we look at stuff that we're taking a snapshot of something the best that we possibly can, trying to connect the dots on how this thing may have gotten out. We're fighting again over masks and vaccines. CNN fired 3 people yesterday because they weren't vaccinated. The NFL is some of the players feel like they're being forced to get vaccinated. I think was it United today or Delta came out and said everybody who works for us is going to be vaccinated. This is where we're going. And it's the battle that is going to happen. And I thought when this thing first happened, we as a country, and in many cases the world would say, look, we're going to take this thing head on, right? We're all in this together. But instead it became political. And once stuff becomes political, everybody has their own ideology that they bring to it. But the ideology in many cases is skewed because you're protecting a party or a belief system that's more about protection and demonizing than anything else. Sager continues.
The parking lot volume of all the hospitals in Wuhan had the highest daily volume of cars in the parking lot in September and October of 2019, far before the first reported cases of COVID, along with a massive spike in search terms on the Chinese version of Google known as Baidu for the terms cough and diarrhea during those corresponding months.
So they're looking and going, well, hold on a second. And by the way, we did this via satellites. Several colleges and stuff were noticing over here what was gone over there. Here's something else that happens.
The report details how between 2 and 3 a.m. in Wuhan, China, the Wuhan Institute of Virology's online public database was taken down mysteriously. That database contained key information about each sample in the lab, including what type of animal was collected, whether a virus was successfully isolated, and more. To date, the database has not yet been put back online.
Yeah, because they say of hacking. Of hacking. Oh, of hacking. That's why they took it down. Well, that's curious. But it gets weirder. So you've got the circumstantial evidence of stuff like that. But here's the interesting thing. Something else took place at that time. Something else that brought a lot of athletes from around the world to a town called Wuhan.
The 2019 Military World Games held in Wuhan on October 18th, 2019. Basically the Olympics, but for athletes in the military. Several athletes at the Games came down with what we now recognize as COVID-19 symptoms. We were sick with symptoms ranging from coughs to diarrhea. The athletes remember now that Wuhan looked really weird at the time. One says he got his temperature taken at the airport. They also described that the city of 15 million people looked like it was on lockdown.
Yeah. Those were Canadian athletes. They had to separate them inside the airplanes. Wasn't just the Canadians.
Later analysis shows that Italy, Brazil, Sweden, and France says that they had patients within their borders who had COVID antibodies from before November 2019. All 4 countries had representatives at the Games. All of the patients that had tested never left the country, indicating a common source of community spread within those countries that comes from a single point of origin.
Again, circumstantial because we don't get to have a peek at any of this stuff because it disappeared. Along the way, several other players in this game, some of which were Americans, some of which had some ties to the National Institute of Health and things like that, were recruited to talk about how they could squash some of this stuff that was going on. People are testing positive for things like the antibodies, having never left and gone to Wuhan or known anybody that has. It's interesting. And why it matters is because we turned this thing into a political battle. We demonized the last president as a nut job and a racist over saying the Wuhan flu and things of that nature. Really a shot more at the communists than people who are of Chinese descent, but everybody takes things in that matter. And we should want accountability, right? Don't we ask for accountability? Trust me, if something would have come out of here, if this would have started here, the world would be screaming accountability, and we'd be going, oh my God, it's all our fault. What can we do to appease it? But we have a nation right now who's flexing their might when it comes to financial sides of things, who, for all intents and purposes, looks at the people as no more than commodities. And everybody's on the first line but the Communist Party. So, yeah, it matters. But, Chad, all the other people, a lot of people out there dismiss it. I mean, you couldn't even mention this on YouTube, right? If you had the theory and you were talking about it with somebody, or a podcast on YouTube or Twitter or any of this stuff, Facebook, they took it down, said, you're just a nut job, only to find out people started coming out from all over the scientific world saying, no, it's not crazy. It's real. And by the way, here's the other side of things. What about the other side of nature?
Show me an iota of evidence on the other side for the natural origin hypothesis, which comes even close to everything I just laid out here. Which bat? How did it fly so far? Who was patient zero? Why would the Chinese government lie about this natural origin virus, but not the one that leaked from a lab? The preponderance of evidence points in a single direction, that the coronavirus leaked from the Wuhan lab sometime in late 2019.
Yeah. And why it matters is, rather than get the rest of the world prepared, they let it just seem like it was a natural occurrence that they were shocked by as well. What do we always talk about here? It's the cover-up. That's the crime. And I think this was more accident than anything else, but a crime was committed to the world when they tried to cover it up and weren't honest, if this is true. But we'll never find out the truth because we're dealing with a country that doesn't believe in truth. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Flat earthers. I'm still always amazed that they can't, when it comes to flag. By the way, you can't even go on and talk about the voter fraud on YouTube. They'll take it down. So people use like code words, right? The thing. They'll use, we're talking about the thing. And it's so weird that it's like, once again, who are we protecting? Who are we protecting from flat earthers? If that lady, I'm a Maine lobster person, and I saw my cousin, he took off out there, and we never saw him again. I think he sailed off to who does that hurt? Nobody. Goes with everything. Why are we always trying to protect everybody from everything? It's not your job. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Rough Greens makes every pet food better. Somebody asked me yesterday what my dog Doodle, but he called him Noodle, was eating. And I said, my dog Doodle, not Noodle, although that would have been a good name, he just eats regular food. We don't do anything super special for him. It's not like we go out and spend hundreds of dollars and we make him special dinner at night. It's great. No, he gets regular food. But the supplement, Canine VitaSmart, that we put on top of it is what has changed everything. It's brought his food to life. It's made him healthier and happier. His joints don't hurt. He's more mobile, and his fur's better. And yes, people ask me, did he really look like he got hit by lightning? They rescued him on the streets of Tucson. Who knows how long he was out there? He's living his best life now as a happy dog, healthier than he's ever been. And I love it. And Canine VitaSmart with its vitamins, minerals, probiotics, vegetables, all that stuff. This is something that is just amazing. And I love it. Give it to your dog. Try it. Here's the beauty of this. They're going to give you a bag for free. You just cover the cost of shipping. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Call 833-MyDog77. You will not be disappointed. You cover the cost of shipping. They're going to send you a bag for free. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me?
Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
It's all coming to an end. The misery is coming to an end. Chad, that's not very nice. Yeah, this is it. Last few days. You got France and the United States in a rematch of the first game of the opening of the basketball. And the United States women will play, I believe it's France as well. If I'm correct. I think so. You've got that. We won the bronze in soccer. And then you've got the other side of stuff. Our track team has been awful. They have been, in fact, so bad that Carl Lewis called them an embarrassment. We didn't qualify for the 4x100 final. Now, this only ever happened one time before, and it's because we dropped the baton. We didn't drop the baton. We just weren't very good. So it has been a very disappointing Olympics for a lot of people. And NBC is not thrilled by this, obviously, and they're looking around thinking, what in God's name are we going to do? Because they're going to have to do all kinds of things to make stuff up. But here's the other side of things. The Olympics itself is lost so much of its luster that, nobody really wants to host the damn thing. And I go back and we joke about all the weird sports and the funny things and that but it is, this thing it has lost its luster. And we've got it here in, 2028, I think. Los Angeles has it. They probably don't even know they had it. We're probably telling them now. They're just learning about it. Hey, you guys know you have this? Oh, goodness me. Oh, what are we going to do about that? Don't know. But it's the final weekend, and I'm waiting to see what the opening ceremony was, some drones, and it was kind of, what is this going to look like? They're just going to turn out the lights? Thanks for coming. Sorry, this was a mess. Have a good one. Oh, here's my favorite, though, race walking.
The heat index, it's like a wall of heat that they're going up against. No elevation on this course, though, but still the pace in which they are walking, so quick.
I'm like, why is it so hot in the mall? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at us. Because, people that go walk the malls. You get it. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Expectations for this report are all over the map, from the highs of 1.2 million jobs created in the month of July to the lows, 350,000 jobs created. The goal among economists is at least 850,000 jobs were created in July. That would be in line with what we saw in the month of June.
But we killed it. 943,000 jobs in July. Unemployment rate slides to 5.4%. Expectations were 5.7. They expected 845,000, so we beat it by 100,000 jobs. Woo! That's a win. That's a win. Now, remember this. Let's go back. January of last year, we created 315,000 jobs. February, right around 300,000. We lost 2 million in March and 21 million in April. From there, May jumped 3 million, 5 million in June, 2 million in July, and slowly but surely it's been right around there. And then we had another blip in December. We lost 300,000 jobs. Since then, though, it's been muddling along. But this is the first time we were really close. We saw this nice jump, and I think that's a good sign when you're beating expectations. But remember, we beat expectations last month in a month where people were feeling like we're getting back to being pre-COVID. We weren't worried about stuff. Well, now we're fighting over masks again. Kids are going back to school, then they're stopping going back to school. Kids are being, held out of school because and parents are having to figure out what to do again. We're seeing this nasty flare-up. The one good news is when it comes to this quote-unquote flare-up is if you look at the UK, and we are probably, they say, 6 weeks behind the UK. The UK saw a spike from June 17th to July 18th, and then it started to come down. So they had a month where it was really moving, and they have since seen their cases pretty much cut in half in the last 3 weeks. And why that matters is because we're about 6 weeks behind them. So in theory, right around, I would say, the end of this month, we should start to see our cases start to, we'll see them plateau in the next week, and then we'll start to see them, I think, come down towards the end of the month. And then we're going to be heading into, obviously, the fall. So we're going to have the flu season. We have all this stuff, and we're still battling over masks. That's not changing. It's not going to change anytime soon. And it's going to be a battle. And we've got states fighting over masks. I mean, that's the other side of things. We've got the likes of Biden fighting with you name it. Name a state. Texas, absolutely. 100% on a daily basis. They're just fighting. Talks about holding federal money. And then, of course, Florida, that's just a hot mess with he and DeSantis right there. This isn't going to change. In the next couple months, you're going to see this. The thing is, how do we approach the upcoming fall through the holiday season? And, of course, we saw that spike, and then last year we really saw that spike. Are we going to get to the point where there's enough people that are vaxxed that this thing is going to be negligible? Yeah, I think so. I still think we're going to see flare-ups for a while, partly because I still think we're going to – not everybody's going to get a booster if they say they need a booster. I think this thing is still going to be able to break through some numbers. But at the same time, so many people are being infected that the natural immunity on top of the vaccines is going to give us far more protection than we had last year. Right? And you're seeing, I think, more and more stories that are coming out about people who were like, look, you know what? I didn't get vaccinated, and look at me now.
We want to share a Virginia man's story of battling COVID. His decision to post videos documenting his COVID-19 treatment has slowly turned into a tragic confessional. Travis Campbell could die because he avoided the vaccine, and he says he truly regrets not getting the shot. He also blames himself for infecting his children. Travis chronicled his battle in a series of Facebook videos.
I had to make a decision if I was going to allow them to put me on a ventilator. And I don't want to be on one, but I want to live.
Yeah, he wants to live. He does. And again, had the chance to get the vaccine. And if you're healthy, I mean, the reality is you've got choices. If you're unhealthy, you should get pretty much every vaccine, the flu vaccine, you name it. You should probably do everything you can to protect yourself. If you've led a truly unhealthy life, and I'm not talking about, again, being 30 pounds overweight. I'm talking about if you're a smoker, if you're a drinker, if you've got, type 2 diabetes, if you sweat putting your shoes on, if you've got, chronic, you got lung disease and heart disease and all. Yeah, then you know what? Everybody should, at that point, do all you can to protect yourself while trying to get healthy. You're 22. Bryson DeChambeau, the golfer who tested positive, he came out and said, look, I know my body. I'm not worried about this, right? I caught it. I don't know how I caught it. In saying that, I don't regret not getting. He goes, it kicked my butt for a couple days, and I'm fine, and I'm not getting the vaccine because now I've got the antibodies. You don't see those stories. And then when people do, they say, again, they talk to people as if they're crazy. There are certain peoples, and I think we realize this now, that there are groups that you have to protect that are super vulnerable. Super vulnerable. Especially the elderly and people that are not healthy. And yes, some people that are extremely healthy will get this thing and die. And this will be the thing that will kill them. And other people that are really unhealthy will get this thing and it won't affect them at all. But across the board, the chances of you having your ass whooped, not killing you, is still big. It is. I've seen it. I had it for a few days. I'd never been so tired. I felt like I was jet lagged all the time. I mean, I didn't stop doing the things I was doing because I didn't know. I just thought I was tired. I mean, at work, I'm up at 2 to 2:30 every morning, and I get home at 7 o'clock. I do 2 radio shows, and I do a ton of voiceovers. And like yesterday's a perfect day. I had 17 commercials yesterday in between. Plus, in what's supposed to be my hour or so of relaxation, with the breaking news here that the PD is being investigated here in Phoenix by the Department of Justice. So we had to do a special hour thing on that. I had 0 breaks. I went to the hotel and passed out instead of going home. So I just thought I was tired. I think most people, they'll get something like that. My wife, she was a hot mess for like 10 days. Couldn't move. Couldn't do anything. Uber healthy. So it will affect people in different ways. But if you have the chance to take the vaccine and you consult your doctor or the person you trust, that's not a meme, I think they'll tell you, this thing's safe, you're fine. But it's not experimental. mRNA is not experimental. DNA, Johnson & Johnson, those things are not experimental. They're not. This was an easy virus to crack. That's the reality of it. It wasn't hard. The hard part of most of these things is getting through red tape. When you don't have the red tape, that's what people should be pissed about. You should be pissed about how fast it took to get them done. You should be pissed about how long it takes to get stuff done.
Last night I come to the realization that the chances of me not being able to give my daughter away at her wedding was greater than walking out. I had to make a phone call to my 14-year-old son, and I had to tell him what I thought my dream was, giving my daughter away at the altar. And I had to ask for his permission if I didn't come home, that he would give my daughter away on her day. I messed up big time, guys. I didn't get the vaccine. I made a mistake, so please, for the love of God, just protect yourself.
And I think for a lot of people, it's conspiracy theories that drive them, but experiences will change them. Not everybody, but some. But some. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. I love it when you guys text me, when you send me stuff. It's good. It is. Man, we got so much nature's going to mess you up today. I mean, you got to pick. It's like, do you want a shark attack? How about some snake stuff? Oh, I'm excited. Got big movies opening this weekend. A big one. And a group signed a massive contract yesterday that is huge. We will discuss that as well. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. My Pillow. Speaking of entertaining. Man, these towels, I love having my towels. And it's great. Like, you don't realize, you go sometimes, like, you'll stay at a hotel. And the hotel I stay at, I love. It's nice. The towels are better than most, but, man, when I've got so many My Pillow towels, and they're just so amazing. The cotton is incredible. It's grown right here in the USA. Proprietary technology. So it's all their technology that makes it so it's super absorbent, but there's no lotion you feel. Because sometimes these things are so soft, but it doesn't soak up the water. You're going to get that with these. You're going to get 6-pack, normally $109.99. Right now, $39.99. Oh, baby. 6-day money-back guarantee, 1-year warranty, tons of colors to choose from. You get 2 big towels, 2 hand towels, and a 2-pack washcloth. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. You're going to absolutely love these things. Take advantage of all the other deep discounts they have out there. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
I usually don't get into politics. As an ordinary suburban housewife, I feel a little disrespected. I teach my children not to name call.
You are a blabbermouth!
Come on, man. Guys, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum?
Chad Benson.
So this is the famous Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad is back, a kind of sequel to the 2016 original. Margot Robbie returns, joined this time by Idris Elba and John Cena. That's streaming on HBO Max and in theaters. Streaming on Apple TV Plus.
Raise your hand if you think you're a lucky person.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt created and stars in the dramedy Mr. Corman and on Amazon Prime Video.
Hi, my name's Val.
Val is a documentary about actor Val Kilmer, told by Val Kilmer through behind-the-scenes footage he shot of his life over the years.
I will watch Suicide Squad probably tonight. Last week we actually watched on Disney Plus. Oh God, what was it? Jungle Cruise. It was fun. Kind of what you want. You know, it reminded me of going to the theaters on a Saturday or something, you know, popcorn. And it was one of those, you know, and I know there was trying to be wokeness, right? Like there was wokeness because one of the characters was gay, but it's set in like the, you know, it's set in like the late 1900s, the late 1800s, early, you know, 1900s. And that's just not, but I'm like, again, like, does it matter? Like there was no point for that. You know, and like I said, I've talked about this at nauseum. It's like at some point in time, can't you just, you know, but producer Phil, I think you said it yesterday. It's like the movie Fargo, right? Like she's pregnant in Fargo, and it doesn't matter. There's nothing about that. It doesn't play any part of it. Nothing to do with the movie. Nothing to do with the movie. Sometimes you're just an actor playing a part. But that's, you know, but the movie itself was fun. It was fun. It was good. It was funny and had humor. And Jack Whitehall, who played the gay character, I mean, he's hilarious. And Emily Blunt was great. And of course, The Rock's always fun. And then Giamatti's in it. And the other movie we watched was Gunpowder Milkshake, which was on Netflix. Great movie. Think of John Wick. Kind of, but with women. It's a little bit of that. It's got a little Tarantino in it. Kind of, yeah, it was very fun. Very, very fun. But yeah, I can't wait. I will see the Suicide Squad. And from what I understand, James Gunn, who is the director of the Suicide Squad, everybody in the movie essentially has a death scene when he films it. He doesn't tell you who lives or dies. He's going to put it in the movie, and they're not going to know up until the point. Now, they obviously know now, but that's the way that he did it. So you're filming this, you're dead. You're filming this, you're dead. You're filming this, you're dead. And we will decide along the way what's going to take place with your character, how we move from point A to point B. And John Cena looks hilarious. He does. He looks hilarious as he's this goofy, like Captain America type of idiot, like super, you know, overly American to the point where you would start laughing at like that guy. That's a parody of something, and it kind of is. So it'll be good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. On the other side of things, on television, think about this, and we were talking about this yesterday. With my other on-air partner here, that he remembers his buddy coming over one night and saying, "Dude, you got to watch the show." And he goes, "They had it on VHS," and they watched it. I was working at the time at K-Earth 101 in Los Angeles, which is one of the big radio stations, one of the most famous stations on the globe in the world. It's incredible. All these rock jocks from the 50s and 60s are there. And I was working for a guy named Robert W. Morgan, and we get all kinds of stuff sent to us. And I don't know, you know, I'm fresh back from Europe and being on the radio over there. I'm producing in Los Angeles and doing stuff and having fun and you know, meeting people and you know, doing tons of, you know, trying to break into the cartoon acting world and doing stuff like that, but still loving radio. And so you get all these people come up and it's like, oh, you never know who anybody's going to be. And they drop stuff off. And these two guys drop something off. And we let it sit there for 2 or 3 days. And I come in at my normal time was like 2 a.m. And Mitch, who was the other producer, he goes, "Dude, you got to watch this show." We put it on the VHS because VHS, and it was wrapped in just like it's a black VHS that with like a rubber band around it and a little bit about the show with the paper rubber band around it. I'm like, it was the first South Park episode, and it was Jesus versus Santa Claus. And I'm like, this is the worst animation. It is hilarious. It was so bad, but it was so bad that it was amazing. And it was incredible. Yesterday, guys took another step in their growth of South Park.
It's a 6-year South Park deal worth a reported $900 million.
Being a sellout is sweet because you make a lot of money.
The animated comedy staying on Comedy Central through 2027, and part of the deal includes 14 movies exclusively for Paramount Plus. Show creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone say in a statement that Comedy Central has been their home for 25 years, and they're happy they'll be sticking around for 75 more. The show's still one of the highest rated for Comedy Central, and it's still getting nominated for Emmys.
Yeah. I watched it last week, and I was laughing. It was an older one. It was the one where they had Randy the Macho Man Savage had identified as I think her name was Karen or something. It was in these competitions against women. It was awesome. $900 million. Plus, those two guys are going to buy Casa Bonita, the famous Mexican restaurant in Denver, made even more famous by the show. It's nice when you have that kind of jump of change. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
People who decide not to get vaccinated will potentially have to face regular testing, social distancing, masking. It'll make it much more challenging for them in the workplace. And we know that this vaccine is our single best tool to getting out of the pandemic.
Dr. John Brownstein thinks mandates are the best thing to do.
Yes, we were, creating financial incentives before, but now it's about fear of losing time to go get tested, losing your job.
So fear, you're going to use fear. Fear.
The reality is we did hit a wall in vaccination. We are seeing some upticks in states that are seeing that surge, but those series of carrots, those incentives didn't really work.
No, they're not, because there's a lot of reasons why they don't work. Because people who are convicted in their heart that this is going to kill them, it's the mark of the beast, that they don't trust the government because they thought it was some sort of, mass crazy way to get Trump out, or that, people of color, like, they're going to think they're going to be impotent, or they're going to be sterile, or that they just think that this is a test on black people. Giving them a chance to win $1 million isn't going to help change their minds. It's not, you're who the people that went more often than not to do those things are people who are like, I was going to get it anyways, but I had an appointment, 3 weeks from now, but I'll just go today. That's not a good thing. I think we can all agree on that. It is not a good thing, though, when we start talking about we're going to go and mandate. Like, businesses can do this outside of religious reasons and, some ADA stuff where people can't, like my little brother cannot take this. He's on so many medicines because of all of his stuff. He has, 100 seizures a day sometimes. So he's got medicine to stop that. He's got medicine for his limbs because of how stiff his body is, because of his cerebral palsy. He's on all of these things that they're like, look, the reaction we think would be detrimental to him and potentially could kill him when he can't catch this thing like somebody else because he doesn't breathe through his nose. He's in a trach and he's got a filter. You're going to mandate that? So you're going to get people that are going to have opportunities to say, well, you can't mandate this. There's the ADA. There's all these things. But when you start pushing certain things, it is a feeling. And I think it was the drummer from, was in Offspring, who said his biggest concern is the fact that the people with the power were pushing things on people who had the least amount of power. And I think a lot of that is true. Education, showing people. But at the same time, we've got to stop worrying about everybody and let them make up their own minds. Well, we want to get out of this. Well, getting out of it means living our lives. Right? Like living our lives. That's how we get out of this thing. Well, some people could spread it. Yes, they could. And you'll have to make decisions for yourself. But at some point in time, us and everybody else who's saying, look, I just want to get on we're being stopped by government and city officials, at the federal and the government, and the federal government all the way down, who are giving you mixed messages, telling you to do this. Now you got to go do that, take the vaccine, but you still got to do this. It's let us get the opportunity to take in the information, which we have been doing, and to make the decision to go forward. Now, businesses are going to do what businesses do, and that's their right to do stuff. I got zero problems with that. CNN, like we were saying yesterday, they fired 3 people who did not get the vaccine. That's CNN's right to do so. Want to fire people? Go ahead. Now, I've always said this, and I'll continue to say this. People will only take that so far. Right? I think we can all agree with that. It's like if you're a backup linebacker in the NFL, you're the 50th man on a 53-man roster, you don't want to take it, okay, we may want to kick you out. If you're Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, well, we're going to have a conversation about we're not getting rid of him. No, you're not. Speaking of that, this is Eric Cousins. He is, it's Kirk Cousins. He's the Vikings QB. He's an odd bird, to say the least. But as far as he's had this thing, but not so much an anti-vaxxer, just an odd cat.
I've had 6 negative tests since I was last with Kellen. Don't have any symptoms. The meeting room we met in was deemed to be too small, so to miss 4 practices in 1 week, and not have COVID was frustrating, disappointing. So the key will be not being a close contact. We have to be very vigilant to make sure that does not happen, which is why moving to a larger meeting room is what's so important. And I said, if it means meeting outside under a goalpost in January, if that's what it takes to get to the playoffs and be in playoff games and win playoff games, and that's where we're going to meet. We're going to avoid this close contact thing with everything we possibly can do.
So their backup guy with COVID, so they keep testing, and now, of course, you can't practice. So everybody with close contacts can't practice. And this is the thing, too, and I've tried to talk about this on occasions with several people, like, well, I think everybody should be mandatory that they should get vaxxed, and I'm like, and the people that aren't, well, their life is just going to be hell. I'm like, well, that sounds fun. That's a way to treat a fellow American who has a different belief than you. Well, their belief could kill somebody. It could. It could also kill them. And there's a very good chance it's going to kill nobody. In saying that, if you have a breakout case, what then? Right? You're asymptomatic and you have a breakout case. If you're vaccinated and you've been in, because it can still get through the vaccine, as we're seeing, it's very rare still, but do you still have to shut down everything? This is part of learning how to treat this thing as if it's something that's here. It's not going anywhere, not in the near future. It eventually will get to the point where it's negligible and we'll still, we'll have spikes here and there. But the reality is at some point in time, people go to work when they're sick. They go to work with the flu. How many of you? I don't want to give up a sick day for being sick. That's vacation day. I think if you're an adult, especially in a situation like this, I think what you do if you're an employer is you bring people in the room and say, look, here's the deal. People who are going to be unvaccinated, we're going to make a switch here. We're going to put you guys in a different room. or a different area if you have the possibility to do that, or ask the vaccinated people, especially in a smaller area, hey, you guys are vaccinated. Are you comfortable with people being in here? I think by and large, most people's adults will say, yeah, I got no problem with it. I'm vaccinated. What do I have to worry about? And the people who are unvaccinated will be like, yeah, I ain't got no problem. Right? And then you ask the unvaccinated people, you need to sign this. This waives us of all liability. Period. Case closed. Waives us of all liability of anything and all of that stuff. Get the legal involved and see what happens there. Kirk Cousins continues, though, the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings.
I think the vaccination decision is a private, very private health matter for me, and I'm going to keep it as such. I do believe that as a leader of the team, it's very important to follow the protocols to avoid this close contact, because that is what it's going to come down to, is did you have a close contact? And so I'm going to be vigilant about avoiding a close contact. I've even thought about, should I just set up literally plexiglass around where I sit so that this could never happen again? I've thought about it because I'm going to do whatever it takes. So we're going to avoid this close contact thing.
Yeah. Plexiglass. Doesn't work, by the way. It's in the air and get around that. He's an odd bird. I don't know if he's vaccinated. I would say, in saying that, I know there are people out there, though, who are vaccinated who don't want people to know they're vaccinated. Like, they'll tell me, and then I'll tell everybody else. But no, I will tell you, but they're in their circle. It's like, I'm like, don't you find that odd that in your circle of people, these people aren't, but you're like, well, yeah. But I also have friends, right? I have a very good friend who is unvaccinated, who's in his circle, and he's on the left side of his aisle. Everybody's vaccinated, and he acts as if he's vaccinated, and he's not. It's like, oh my God, what's your vaccination status? It used to be, don't ask the weight of somebody, don't ask how old somebody is, don't ask what kind of money they make. And nowadays, it's like, are you vaccinated? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Raycon, love my earbuds. It's really weird. So I've got my studio set up here, and I got my studio at home, and I've got microphones and stuff over there that I use for voiceover, and over here I've got this. My Raycons sit over there, so when I need to go do something really quick, I take these headphones off, I zip over, I do a quick audition, pop those things in, and I just love them. Comfortable. It's almost like snapping on, like a Lego. It is awesome. The fit, the feel. You will love these. No stems, no wires. They start under $60, 45-day happiness guarantee. The case that it comes in, it's a charging case. Are you ready for this? You can get like 30-plus hours charge us. So you can get 4 full charges for your earbuds. And these things just go, go, go. Seamless Bluetooth pairing, better sound quality, better design with the noise isolating fit that you will ever find. 45-day happiness guarantee. And like I said, the price point is amazing. It starts under $70. Love, love, love them. So what I want you to do, try them now. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Free shipping, 1-year warranty. No questions asked. They're not working. You return them. Gets new ones. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Saves you 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let us take a peek and find out what's trending on the internet. Shall we? Start on Twitter, where people are arguing and fighting because why? Yes! Yes. There is. All right. So, what are we fighting about now? President Pelosi. I like that one. That one's trending. Why is it trending? You know what? At this point in time. So, people are talking about impeaching Biden and Harris. I'm like, I don't even... What? Mike Lindell's trending because he did an interview with CNN. And look, kind of went off the off the rails and stuff. I thought next weekend the weekend Trump was supposed to be reinstalled as president. Does he know this? I have to be honest. When I watch Trump, I'm thinking he thinks to himself, I don't want that damn job again. Being a pain in everybody. He just wants what he wants. If you guys, and I would tell the Democrats, what he wants is the people that support him want him back as president. Trump just doesn't want to lose. He wants to be told it was stolen, and he'll say, I told you so, but I don't want the job. That's all he wants. Oh, yeah, that is weird. True. Google. Number one thing yesterday searched. Lionel Messi, soccer star, was searched. Top of that, Donda, which is apparently the new album from Kanye. Apparently he levitated yesterday. Suicide Squads. Cons are super violent. Pros is how they describe it in this. And, of course, the football game was back last night. The Hall of Fame game was back. I watched a bit of it. I will not lie. I watched a bit of the game because it was just awesome. It was packed. It's just fun to watch. You know, they're playing. Last year, you know, we're like, is there even going to be any games? You know, basketball's still going on. It's like, it was just the weirdest thing in the world. You know, people are celebrating their championships in virtual, celebrations with their family. Nobody's in the crowds. It's at empty arenas. And it was just, it was weird. Football games were being played again, like we talked on, like Tuesdays in the middle of the day. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot football's on. Like it was a day game. It's just, it was wacky. It was. I'm so glad though. But Lionel Messi is the biggest athlete in the world. Him and Cristiano Ronaldo. It's not even close. Third would probably be LeBron James. But Lionel Messi and Ronaldo are the biggest in the world. Lionel Messi is still somewhat in his prime. He's 34 years old. He's only ever been at this club. That's it. 17 years as a professional. But he moved over there when he was a child to train at the facility that they have. They have a residency program for superstars, for kids, young kids, superstars. And he moved over there. It's the only thing he's ever known. Argentina in there. They can't afford him because the coronavirus got to the point where it put such a crunch on them. And there's also a fair play rule in Spain because, you know, the dominance of some of these teams. So you can only spend so much on wages. And by the way, I think the average player, I think when they worked it out last year, I think their average player was making like 14 million euros. He's not your average player. Rumor has it that he will sign a contract potentially with PSG, which is the big soccer team, and that he is going to make anywhere between 2 and 4 million a week just as his salary. Just as a salary. You could double or triple that potentially with imaging rights. That is insane. All for kicking a ball. All for kicking a ball. Crazy, but true. We sit here, and again, when you see those numbers, even, you know, Patrick Mahomes tweeted out, man, I got to tell my kid to play soccer. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Let's have some fun with gender. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Absolutely. This is a guy that got too much power. Too many people were afraid of him, bullied people. He got his way too often, and he think he could do whatever he wanted. And that was very destructive. It's not good. Not good in a democracy when someone's got too much power. I think he thinks he still may have some sleight of hand here. It's not going to work. He's out of options. Just a matter of time before he's gone. If he was not such a narcissist and he actually could think about other human beings, he would say, hey, you know what? I'm doing a lot of damage at this point. It's time to go.
Said the guy that's running New York City into the ground. De Blasio talking about Cuomo. Where was Cuomo yesterday? At the pool with some blonde. The pictures everywhere of it. People want him gone. I know De Blasio would love it. Like a chance for me to be governor. I've ruined the city. Why not ruin the state? It's not very nice, Chad. It's not very nice at all, Chad, to say something like that. No, it's kind of funny if you think about it. Absolute power. It's not good when somebody has that much power. This is the world that that our founding fathers created, was the opportunity to have gridlock, to not have one power dominate the other power. But most states are that way. Most states are either full majority or super majorities, but a few. And Cuomo, I don't think he's not going down without a fight. He's not. He is not going down without a fight. And I think he's going to tell everybody, prove it all in court. Take me to court, prove all of this stuff. Prove every single thing. And I think a few will, and I think some may fade out, but I think he's going to try to fight it that way. And think about first of all, not only the narcissism, the ego that is in politics. I mean, Rod Blagojevich is trying to figure out how he can sue so he can run for governor again. A guy that was arrested and jailed and then went to prison while he was the governor. He's like, all right, how do I get to do this again? It's not just us. Look around the world. Brazil's a hot mess. This guy's in jail, then he gets out. He wants to be president again. Then the guy that's president, everybody, you're corrupt, and so you're going to go to jail. Right? So then you go to jail. Argentina's the same way. Hey, that last person we put in jail, we want him again. It's like, he's not going to change.
Think about those 11 women and what he put them through. Just out of respect for how he wronged them and trying to atone for his sins, he should step aside right now. Just get the hell out of the way. I mean, in the end, maybe he could close off his career with one act of dignity and decency and just step aside. But don't bet on that.
No, don't think it's going to happen. If I know him, he is not going to go anywhere. He is going to fight this thing. And even when he loses, as far as his impeachment and they remove him, he isn't going anywhere. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Yesterday I was talking about not being able to find a job and not being able to like people out there, they can't find jobs that they think pay well. Some people snap back at me, and I laughed. So at Chad Benson Show, where are these service industry jobs that pay $50 to $60K a year? You're pretending to be outraged over nonsense. Full time at $15 an hour gets you $18K. Now I'm like, I don't really. You're not. So get you $18K. That's $31,200 at $15 an hour. Where are you getting your math? 20 an hour gets you $24K. All right, so 20 an hour. Now, 20 an hour gets you $24K is what she says. That's $41,600. Well, yeah, but you got to think in taxes and stuff like that. Yeah, so does everybody else, by the way. Well, if you should be able to, you shouldn't have to live in your car if you work 37.5 hours a week. No, you don't want people to. I don't think anybody does. But when you're getting, people get mad at me Or they say, look, where are these jobs? Well, first of all, you're not working 37.5 hours a week. These jobs are so desperate right now. The place out here had to close down. We talked to the owner yesterday, or the head brewmaster, actually, who kind of runs the place. And he said to us, the reason we shut down is we don't have cooks. We're paying $20 an hour plus tips if you have any experience. You're going to make probably $30 an hour. He goes, our guy, the reason we shut it down is he's it. And he'd been working so much, the owner's like, this guy needs to spend a day or two with his kids. So we're going to shut down so he can do that. And we're talking about a nice, like a brewery / restaurant. Think of something like the Red Robin or Ruby Tuesdays or like something of that. Like where it's a big, this isn't some small. That's with the hours he's working, by the way. And see, this will be the other thing. Well, you're going to have to work 50 or 60 hours a week to get to that. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, then there you go. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a you thing. You want to work 37.5 hours and take home $60,000 a year. Okay. Well, then find something that you can do that makes you $30+ an hour. And you can get there. Well, yeah, but I want the job I do to pay me that. Well, that job doesn't do that. That job has this pay, and that's where that's at. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Gender. So the American Medical Association has weighed in on gender, and they have recommended that they just leave gender and sex off of birth certificates. The group says including the information could lead to stigmatization of transgender and non-binary people. Okay. Okay. Now it's there. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. That's where we are in this situation. Transgender and non-binary people. That's where we're at. So we can't have sex on there. Okay, fine. Whatever. So, but just to show you how this is a situation where people are so worked up over these things. To show you, just to give you a sense of when you can control language, when you can get people to self-censor their thoughts and their selves on saying something, and if you can get people, and by the way, stuff where you can't even have a conversation, that you're curious about something, you're asking a question, or where you can get people to stop even saying, look, I believe this, but I'm terrified to say it because people are going to hate me, and I'm going to. That is scary. That is authoritarian. That is frightening. Frightening. Listen to this teacher. Got a pronoun wrong. You would have swore. Ran over their dog.
I messed up. So I had a kid on Monday. They said their pronouns were she, her. Then on Wednesday, they came to me and they said, you know what? My pronouns are they, them. Okay, cool, great. They come to class today. There's names on desks in groups for assigned seats. So I go to the class. Hey, is she in anyone's group? Does anyone see her name? It took me 5 minutes to realize what I did.
Now, we have a rule on this show. Whatever your name is, you're going to get called out, right? Whatever your name is. So if they, them was their name, hey, is they, them in anybody's group? If it's Charlotte, hey, Charlotte, who's in Charlotte's group? Who's in Steve's group? See the way that works? See that? See that? That's the way that works. Okay? She's not done. Like, so listen, she's distraught. Like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Someone asked a question yesterday, what do you do when you mess up? So what I did when they were sitting by themselves, I approached them and said, I screwed up, didn't I? And they said, yep. And I said, I am so sorry. That is completely 100% my fault. I apologize. I will not get it wrong moving forward. So that's what you do. You own it. You apologize. You know, they were disappointed in me.
They? Who were they? There was two of them? Control language, kids. Control the language. It's, you know, there's just, but it seeps in everywhere. Chad, don't you want to know people's pronouns? No, I want to know your name. I'm not going to call you. My pronoun, if you say he, him, I'm not looking. I'm not. What if I want to be called Sir Elton John? I was talking the other day with somebody. I said, it was a lawyer. I said, hey, try this next time you're in court and you're defending the perpetrator, potentially alleged perpetrator of something. Tell the jury they identify as somebody who's not guilty. And as such, you can't. Or you're going against their identity. It's not very nice. Speaking of identities, we have more fun with gender.
Let me introduce you to our non-binary alpaca. Alex was there to help me during the really quiet moments when nobody would talk during virtual learning.
Yes, they were so quiet.
But then I also took it as an opportunity to teach my students about how to respect people's pronouns. Did Alex ever get misgendered? Yes. But then it opened up some teachable moments about what to do when that would happen. For example, hey, Mr. Vung, did he just wake up from his nap? Oh, do you mean did they wake up from their nap? I would apologize quickly, make the correction, and move on. Afterwards, my students would correct each other whenever somebody would misgender Alex here.
The alpaca? Did Alex really, does he talk?
Yeah, he talks! Oh yes, and here's Alex's friend, Lincoln the llama, who goes by pronouns he, him. At first, my students thought that he had very feminine features, so they thought that he was a girl. And this is why we should never assume somebody's gender just based on what they look like. Alright, Lincoln, say something. Hello. My students were really surprised how low his voice sounded.
It's weird as that's college. It's not. It should be, though. If my child was at school and that's what you're doing, I'm going to take he, him, they, them, i.e. AOU, and we're going to go somewhere else. Can't read, but they know everybody's pronouns. Because the llama said so. My name's Linda. You must respect that. Oh, fun with gender. Again, I love all people. I don't care what you identify as. And I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't. Just tell me your name. It's all we want to know. It's all we want to know. That's it. But that's the stuff right there. And it's, again, it's not about they, them, or he, him, or he, her, or ha-ha, or sha-na-na. It's about none of it. What it's about is the insanity of which it seeps in because it feels more about control and being able to bend people to do things and to punish people, right? You've misgendered somebody. You dead named somebody. What? Wait, what? Yeah, they go by they, them. What did I say? You said, you guys, come here. Oh, there was like 12 of you. So, people over there in a circle. I don't go by people. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. My dog goes by Doodle, actually. That's it. He doesn't. I don't even think he knows his name. I don't, because when they rescued him, you know, found he was wandering the streets, and we're pretty sure that the family that had him before us didn't speak English because he doesn't recognize that. And not being that, they told us that. And we're like, oh, but they're not sure, but they told us that. And we started laughing, but we're not quite sure. But I tell you one thing, he knows he loves his food, and he knows he loves his Rough Greens because he's bouncy, he's happy, he's healthy, his hips don't hurt. It is so amazing how incredible Rough Greens has been for him in his life, from a hot mess to a dog that's happy and healthy. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-369, all these incredible things. Right now, ruffgreens.com/Chad. You go there when you go there, they're going to send you a bag for free. Outside of that, you just pay for shipping. Try it. Roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Yeah, it is, baby. We're just talking about Apple's going to scan like the cloud for pictures of child abuse. And, well, first of all, there's just, it's vile and disgusting and awful. And we were talking earlier about, remember the day when you go to Photomat or, you drop it off there, and get, Walgreens and you get your stuff developed and they would see stuff and they would call people and, say, hey, this person's done that. And now, they're going to do that. And while you think that's a great thing, and I do think it's a great thing, and we should be catching these SOBs every time we can so we can kill them. On the other side of things, every parent in the world has pictures of their kids in the bathtubs. Every single one of them. Sometimes it's you and your sister or your brother. Sometimes it's like your buddy and you stay the night. You're going to church the next day. And you're taking your friend and your mom and you're like 3 or 4. And it's like everybody does. Because that's what happens, right? You bring your girlfriend over, or your boyfriend over, and mom starts taking out the stuff. Look at this. Dad's like, yeah, look, he's got to stand over the trophies. Look at that. He won trophies, or she's my little angel, blah, blah, blah. Or they, them is they and them. So that's part of like growing up. I'm like, this is going to, where's this going? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's this going to end up? Because somebody's going to get called in for something, and it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. And it's great because I know I'm going to get pushback later about, Chad, you were making fun of people. But I don't make fun of people. First of all, here's my thing. If I'm making fun of you, joking with you, I love you, right? If people say, well, what about, people, you talk about these. It's not about a person who's trans. It's not about a person who's non-binary. What it's about is the forcing people to bow down to certain things. And certain language and change your thought. That's what everybody should be worried about. Regardless of love, who you love, skin color, what you identify as. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
In an attempt to boost vaccination rates, the White House is considering withholding federal funds from institutions like long-term care facilities, cruise ships, and universities until they get people vaccinated. That's according to the Washington Post. The Post says these conversations from administration officials are still in early stages and no decisions have been made yet.
So I think what you're going to see when it comes to this is you don't want to be vaccinated. That's fine. But we're going to do everything we can to make your life a living hell. We're going to do everything we can to make your life a living hell. Now, we're not going to go out of our way as far as we're not going to be, some people will. We hear stories now all the time of, they're not vaccinated, so I'm not going to be their friends anymore. I'm like, that's solid. Would you do the same thing if they were gay? Well, no, that's weird. Okay. If they were Muslim? No. If they were black? No. But they're unvaccinated. Oh, okay. So you're not going to be their friends because of that. Yeah. So what they're going to do is they're going to incentivize people by essentially saying, or else you're going to have a miserable time.
People who decide not to get vaccinated will potentially have to face regular testing, social distancing, masking. It'll make it much more challenging for them in the workplace. And we know that this vaccine is our single best tool to getting out of the pandemic.
Our single best tool is not being a-holes to each other. Then the vaccine would come in second. So that's what they're going to do. And I think you're going to see a lot more of this. Companies are already saying, or else. Or else. Do this or else. Do this or else. Do this or you're going to have to get tested every single day. Do this or you're going to have to be isolated from everybody and wear a mask. Do this or... And that's, I think, what you're going to find coming. And with big companies, CNN fired 3 people. I think it was American. One of the big airlines now says everybody's got to be vaccinated and you got till October to do it or you're no longer going to work with the company. It's a private business. You're going to be able to do stuff like this. It's a private business. You are. Feds and certain government places are going to have issues with it. And how do you deal with people who have religious reasons for not getting it? How do you deal with people who have, the ADA is going to come down on some of this and say, hold on a second. No. Like so-and-so can't get this because of that. There's going to be a lot of those things and a ton of other lawsuits saying you're violating me by trying to make me take something that I don't feel I need to take or want to take. And then people say, well, no, it's for the good of mankind. And we value certain things, right? But the other side of it is, and I've said this, I think that, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened sooner, but now insurance companies are essentially saying, okay, here's the deal. Get vaccinated and you get sick, we'll pay out all your stuff. Don't get vaccinated, we won't pay a penny. Wait, what? Yeah, that's kind of where it's going. Can they do that? Well, they do it now, right? Like if you don't smoke, you get a better rate. If you don't drink, you get a better rate. If you're within a certain weight level, you get a better. I mean, there's all those things they do, but this is going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. And there's going to be lawsuits. And what have we done? Instead of mounting up and fighting this thing together, we fought against each other. Instead of putting ourselves in a position to say, what's the best way of going about protecting the people that are truly vulnerable, at the same time still living our lives without fighting with each other, we said, oh, let's just fight with each other. Let's just fight. That's all we need to do. Let's just fight. We'll argue. We'll go to our corners. And even if we find some modicum of places where our beliefs kind of intersect, it won't matter because I am standing here saying I'm not doing something, and you're standing there saying, And one of the other thing is as the piousness of some of these people, right? The sanctimony, just sitting up there, just like, well, I'm vaccinated. You're not. You're a scumbag, obviously. You're the unwashed and unclean that they spoke about in the Bible. I heard people even getting to the point where they're almost wishing people get sick. Well, then you're going to get sick and you're probably going to die based on no science. Because people want to do what? I got you. And the other side, people want to see people who get the vaccine grow a third eye, They want to see them, get sick. They want to see them, all these things. They want to see them basically be in a position where, it didn't work or something where they can go, I told you. Rather than go, we got to get this thing, We got to get this thing done. How do we fight this thing? We fight each other, apparently. We fight each other. And with that, we've also got an economy and a life to lead. Jobs report came out. Not bad.
Expectations for this report are all over the map, from the highs of 1.2 million jobs created in the month of July to the lows, 350,000 jobs created. The goal among economists is at least 850,000 jobs were created in July. That would be in line with what we saw in the month of June.
So we created about 100,000 more. I'm sure they'll revise it, but at this point in time, 100,000 more. Not bad. But we're in a position where that was last month. Things are changing because of the Delta variant. The troubles are out there. People are asking what could slow this thing down.
Great numbers in July, great revised numbers in June, showing that we are recuperating. The only cloud, I would say, that hangs over us all as far as the economy is the Delta variant. And one important note with this data set is that a lot of this was collected before this Delta variant was spreading as much as it was.
Yep, there's the worry. There's the worry. So you saw big gains, but that was pre the insanity of the Delta virus and everybody going, hair's on fire.
Leisure and hospitality, so bars, restaurants, theaters, all of those sectors added jobs, which is fantastic. But a lot of that was taken before we really saw these very high numbers of the Delta variant. So most economists that I'm speaking with, super optimistic about the future long term, but they do say that COVID, that is the greatest threat.
Man, tell you what, it's crazy. It's crazy right now. It's uncomfortable at times when you see the way that we react towards each other. And then you start to get the sense of here comes the impending doom because something else is going on and everybody's still trying to figure out who's more right than the other person. And I'm not talking about right wing. I'm talking about I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. And people are still dealing with the day-to-day troubles of trying to figure out how to maneuver through this. And when you see the news and the fear factor that's out there, and that's what's a lot that's driving this boost and boom in vaccinations is fear, because other stuff didn't work.
Yes, we were creating financial incentives before, but now it's about fear of losing time to go get tested, losing your job.
And some people think that's good. And one of my friends, my on-air partner for my afternoon show that we do, my other show, he is a big proponent of everybody needs to be mandatory vax. Everybody needs this, this, and this. And if you're not vaxxed, I don't want you around me. And he goes, and I'm the exact opposite. I don't care. I've been vaccinated. I've had it and been vaccinated. I don't know what else you want, at this point. It's like, again, it goes back to me saying to myself, this is about me. I've done the things I can. So whether you did or didn't doesn't affect me. Well, I don't know how you could be that way because I can. I think most people we don't, though. It's like the same thing. Most people don't have friends who are in a different political party, which is, I find to be bizarre, but that's where we are. And it's now got down to this. And if you think that, this is going to get any better anytime soon, I think you're sorely mistaken. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Delta variant, if you go look at the UK, and we're about 6 weeks behind. In fact, they're ahead of where they thought they would be because the Delta variant spreads at such a fast rate that it kind of got through a lot of people. So their numbers have been falling for the last several days, and in less than a month they've halved their numbers as far as people are testing positive. So I have a feeling by the middle to end of this month, probably in the next 10 to 14 days, we'll hit a peak, and then it'll start to come down in September. And then of course the talk of boosters and flu season, can they combine? There's going to be all this talk, but that's where we are at this moment in time. I think we're going to get through this thing quick. And then I think enough people will be infected, enough people will have the shot that seeing a spread like this again is probably unlikely. But you never know because something could break through. But we can't live our life on the something could. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. MyPillow has towels. Watching water polo. If you guys got out and you need a towel, MyPillow's got your towel. You get a 6-piece towel set for $39.99. That's a huge savings. Normally it's $110. 2 big towels, hand towels, 2 washcloths. Whoa. I know, right? But wait, there's more. 60-day money-back guarantee. Cotton's grown in the United States. Proprietary technology. Makes them extra soft, super absorbent, no lotiony feel. Ooh, nice. They are amazing. Take advantage of this and all the other massive deals with the MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets, the MyPillow, and everything in between. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Use that promo code. Save big. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Probably the way it feels. The Olympics coming to, a thankful end. A thankful end. Couple events left. Some good stuff that's happened. Right? Some good stuff. But by and large, it's been an absolute debacle. And apparently we discussed yesterday, the Australians partied so hard, they broke a bunch of stuff, broke walls, did all kinds of crazy things, vomited everywhere. It was a nightmare. But there's still Australians left because some of them are still competing. Well, apparently they're not letting up. The other side, Allison Felix, the greatest female, arguably, track athlete we've ever had, tied a record with Carl Lewis for medals. But this was special because she said, this is the first time she did something as a mom. She's 35. This is her 5th Olympics. She will have a chance to break the record if she chooses to run in the 4x400 relay, which not quite sure, but she got a bronze out of this. But there's a reason she continues to run.
Oh, it's so different. I just wanted to really show her, no matter what, that you do things with character, integrity, and you don't give up. And to me, whether that was winning, losing, no matter the outcome, I wanted to stay consistent with that.
Yeah. And that's cool. She wanted to show. Do the same thing with my kids. It's like I got hockey skates and stuff coming. Why? Because I'm going to show my son that, I played back in the day. Because he's always amazed. I go out and he's always laughing. It's like my brother's telling you, yeah, your dad's got a cannon still. But at the same time, they see me do all these things, and I want to show them. I say, you can be anything you want in life. You can. How about some other stuff, including volleyball?
Team USA fighting to the finish for more medals in Tokyo. Alex Kleinman and April Ross, known as the A-Team, are now Olympic gold medalists after clinching the win against Australia in beach volleyball. The pair undefeated in their gold medal run. Ross is no stranger to the podium after winning bronze in Rio in 2016 and silver in London in 2012. But this is Kleinman's Olympic debut. The 6'4" athlete had been an indoor volleyball star, but moved to the beach in hopes of earning a medal. That dream now realized.
Yeah. So, we're doing all right. We've got more medals than everybody else. I think we're second in golds, but I have a feeling by when all is said and done, we'll have the most golds. But it has been very disappointing for our track team, especially our men's track team. They have been... Bleh. They failed to qualify for the 4x100. They failed to qualify for the 4x100. Only one time has that happened before, and we dropped the medal. We dropped the baton. This time, we just didn't qualify. We're good enough. Carl Lewis says it's an embarrassment. Yeah, I think so. I think so. We might win our second gold medal in golf. Nelly Cordova leads the golf by 4 holes. And her brother, I still think, is competing. He plays professional tennis, and he is in the tennis. It's like crazy. Talk about a family. 323-538-2423. It's just, you look and you think to yourself, how much longer they do this? You know, the Olympics like this. Like soccer, you know, they're floating a thing where, hey, why don't we do the World Cup every 2 years? The Olympics is like, why don't we just do this once a decade? Make it a month long. Ooh, that's not a bad idea, right? But if I'm them, I come out and I say, we're only going to host these things in like 3 different countries or 4 different countries that have the infrastructure that can withstand the crap we bring with it. Well, you guys are saying that because it'll be in America. I don't know. We're going to have it in 28. Do we really need it again? Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The battle that is over a virus that drives everybody crazy and that we fight nonstop about. The question still lingers, though. Where the hell did it come from? Well, Chad, it was bat, according to, Google. You can't say it came from a lab. That's impossible. They don't do stuff like that over there. So you mean to tell me? You mean to tell me that they have a laboratory which specializes in gain of function and viruses in Wuhan, China, city of 15 million plus people, and they specialize in these particular viruses, and that there was no way that this thing got out of there at all. It's impossible. No, says we've debunked that. It's impossible. Everybody thinks it's a bunch of baloney that wants it to be so, because if it was true, then maybe there was some merit to what Trump was saying, and we don't like Trump, and because of that, there can't be any merit to it. And Bill Gates doesn't believe it.
How important do you think it is to understand how this happened, how it started? I mean, is that critical in terms of preventing it in the future?
No, the source isn't going to change, the need for masks and vaccines and the need to have a very different regimen so that all countries could get on top of the cases very quickly.
Well, actually, Bill, that's a lie, because if people are playing around with stuff, it is important to know if people are doing things, because if people are doing things and it accidentally got out and we knew when it got out what we needed to do immediately to shut everything down globally for potentially for real a couple of weeks, we knew immediately that this thing is easily, potentially, if this had happened, had been introduced to humans' genes and had a familiarity with them. Because remember, viruses jumping from an animal to human, it doesn't happen a lot. But then it jumping from another human to another human is even rarer. Because what ends up happening is the thing's not familiar with your body. This thing seemed to be pretty familiar. So, and that does matter because if you're messing with this stuff, that means the potential of something like this happening again is real, right? No, can't be. Can't be.
From a justice standpoint or just a moral standpoint, do you want to know how this started?
I would continue that investigation. The last paper I saw showed evidence against the lab leak, but, yes, we should investigate these things. But it's not directly tied to the particular actions to save lives at this point.
Yeah. No. Well, what if it was? But Chad, you heard him. It's impossible. I mean, where would they do an investigation where they could really find out anything? Well, you can't. Everything's got to be circumstantial at this point. Why? Because you're never going to China. You think China's going to let you in? You really think China's going to let you in? And let's not forget the fact that for the last year, if you mentioned it in many social media areas, you were shut down. It was categorically, ruled an absolute lie. Been debunked. How do you debunk something that you never even looked into?
The new information concerning the circumstances of the origins of COVID comes from a new addendum by the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Quote, the preponderance of evidence suggests SARS-CoV-2 was accidentally released from a Wuhan Institute of Virology laboratory sometime prior to September 12, 2019. 2 months before reports indicate that researchers at the lab itself fell so sick they required hospitalization.
Oh, well, Chad, these are some weirdos, right? These are just some weirdos on the old interwebs talking about this stuff. These aren't real people. Who are these people? It's called Breaking Points, and Breaking Points is maybe one of the most honest things you're going to find anywhere out there. Crystal Ball and Sager, they were on the Hill for a while.
As we mentioned before,
these two are amazing. One is to the left, one is to the right. They're not extremes. They deliver real cogent arguments and discussions and news based on facts. They will agree with each other, where you would not find that in the normal world. But it's about honesty. And Sager's been on this for a while. Hey, and he's the conservative one. Look at this. This is nuts. So they've done this report. Here's something they did. Several colleges here and abroad monitored satellites as they were going back to look how this thing could potentially spread. Remember, it wasn't until potentially December, January, where this could be something. We were saying, hey, stuff's going on over there on our little dog and pony show. But when did it actually occur?
The parking lot volume of all the hospitals in Wuhan had the highest daily volume of cars in the parking lot in September and October of 2019, far before the first reported cases of COVID, along with a massive spike in search terms on the Chinese version of Google known as Baidu for the terms cough and diarrhea during those corresponding months.
Wait, so people are searching these things. The hospitals aren't just kind of packed, they're super packed. Well, come on, that's just ridiculous. You know the Chinese have been everything. They're above board here.
The report details how between 2 and 3 a.m. in Wuhan, China, the Wuhan Institute of Virology's online public database was taken down mysteriously. That database contained key information about each sample in the lab, including what type of animal was collected, whether a virus was successfully isolated, and more. To date, the database has not yet been put back online.
So you mean to tell me that the database magically disappeared around the same time that... Well, yeah, because we were worried about hackers. Okay. Now, again, circumstantial evidence. Because you're never going to get the truth because you're not going to be there. The crime scene is completely cleaned up. And you don't even get to see it. And on top of that, the weapon has disappeared. But there are other evidences, and this is the one I find to be very interesting, because something took place over there during the same time that potentially COVID was breaking out. And there are witnesses to said things.
The 2019 Military World Games held in Wuhan on October 18th, 2019. Basically the Olympics, but for athletes in the military. Several athletes at the Games came down with what we now recognize as COVID-19 symptoms. We were sick with symptoms ranging from coughs to diarrhea. The athletes remember now that Wuhan looked really weird at the time. One says he got his temperature taken at the airport. They also described that the city of 15 million people looked like it was on lockdown.
Wait, what? Yeah. Looked like it was on lockdown. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. And then here's some other stuff. It wasn't just the Canadians. There were other things.
Later analysis shows that Italy, Brazil, Sweden, and France says that they had patients within their borders who had COVID antibodies from before November 2019. All 4 countries had representatives at the Games. All of the patients that had tested never left the country, indicating a common source of community spread within those countries that comes from a single point of origin.
Why does it matter? It matters because what if they would have came out and said, look, we got this thing and it seems to be it's spreading rather easily. We advise everybody shut their borders down for the next several days and do everything you guys can to monitor people who are having certain symptoms of certain kinds of things that in some ways may resemble the flu, both the stomach flu or the other flu, all kinds of things. And we advise you guys to do this as soon as possible, because we think this thing could potentially grow and become a pandemic that is going to make life hell for everybody. We've always said it here. It's rarely is it the crime. It's the cover-up that gets you. We're never going to know. The Chinese aren't going to be transparent with any of this crap. No way would they be transparent with any of this crap. No chance. And by the way, there are some Americans involved along the way who had skin in the game at the lab, who also played a part in making sure that some of this stuff didn't get to the point where the conspiracy theory could have grown. It becomes a conspiracy theory when you won't allow people to look, because then people think that there's something there. And when you don't allow them to look, then they start to think you're hiding something. That's when the conspiracies take off. But Bill Gates said that he read a paper and they said it was no way. Well, Sager, what do you think?
Show me an iota of evidence on the other side for the natural origin hypothesis, which comes even close to everything I just laid out here. Which bat? How did it fly so far? Who was patient zero? Why would the Chinese government lie about this natural origin virus, but not the one that leaked from a lab? The preponderance of evidence points in a single direction, that the coronavirus leaked from the Wuhan lab sometime in late 2019.
Lays out pretty good evidence. Well, but they've had other papers. They still can't explain the bat. How did that bat get there? Well, that's not the time of the year. It's cold. It's not the time of the year. That's bat. The bat that they say this thing could have come from would have come from several hundred miles away. Probably not going to happen. There's a lot that goes into it. And when you're not transparent, because it could be that, but when you start to hide stuff, people ask serious questions. And then when enough of the right people ask serious questions, we should pay attention. For government, I doubt they want to know what's going on. Because if they knew that this was real and where it came from, then people would say, well, we're going to have to hold China accountable, especially if they lied about stuff. And I think the last thing that anybody in government wants to do is that. And I don't think any of them have the cojones to really try to do something like that and what that would mean. I mean, you've got business owners apparently who are essentially going to be asking Biden here in the next couple of days to get rid of all the tariffs with China. I mean, that's where we are because, you know, much like Hollywood and everything, it's the almighty buck. So for a lot of people, I think they're like, you know what? We'll just let it go. 323-538-2423 At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. What movies are coming out this weekend? One big one. And I'm going to watch it tonight. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
This is the famous Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad is back, a kind of sequel to the 2016 original. Margot Robbie returns, joined this time by Idris Elba and John Cena. That's streaming on HBO Max and in theaters. Streaming on Apple TV Plus.
Raise your hand if you think you're a lucky person.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt created and stars in the dramedy Mr. Corman, and on Amazon Prime Video.
Hi, my name's Val.
Val is a documentary about actor Val Kilmer, told by Val Kilmer through behind-the-scenes footage he shot of his life over the years.
Yeah. I'm going to see Suicide Squad. I saw Jungle Cruise last week. I liked it. It's very fun. It's everything it was supposed to be. It was fun. It was fun. It's everything it's supposed to be. But this looks really cool. And what I like about it is James Gunn is doing it. James Gunn does the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? It's like he does it right. He does these movies right. And when you go and look at Guardians, Suicide Squad, it looks good. Because a lot of times, especially in the DC world, stuff's not always looked as good, especially compared to the Marvel world. What I like about him, though, is some of these characters are going to die. And the way that he did it was, from what I understand, everybody has a death scene. But he ain't telling you who's dying. You'll have to see it in the movies. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so this will be pretty good. And the reality is it's violent. It's going to be funny, quirky. He wanted to take some of the weird, quirky characters. Peacemaker's one of them. It's John Cena. He's ridiculously gung-ho American. How are you? Wears tighty-whities kind of things. And it's to the point of annoyance. At the same side of things, he's got, he's got Polka Dot Guy. Right? He's got Polka Dot Guy. Like, Polka Dot Guy is interesting. Because you're like, who the hell is Polka Dot Guy? Oh, yeah, he's goofy. Polka Dot Guy is like everything that's a polka dot or like a circle he can kind of control. It's just, but like, what? That's weird. Yeah, so I'm excited. And we'll see that. Because it's just fun, Watch the Olympics. That wasn't fun, right? Because they're just, it's the Olympics. Everything's late. If you want to watch any of it, there's no fans there, which is still, it's just, I've got friends over at NBC, and I was talking to them, like, dude, the amount of money we have lost. It's like, because off this is, and they'll spin it, and they'll figure out a way to make it look like, oh, we did okay. He goes, no, we didn't, especially in the demos. It's still about key demos. So good luck. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Imagine this.
Anxiety is gripping the 1800 block of Cherry Street in Grand Prairie over what could really be slithering nearby.
I told my wife about it. She's like, what the f-? She goes, a cobra. I said, a cobra.
A 6-foot-long West African banded cobra missing from a home since Tuesday afternoon. The snake's owner says he's sorry.
I did make a mistake, and I feel very sorry for the community.
Yep. That's full grown, by the way. By and large, if it's a male, maybe a little bit longer. It is venomous, highly venomous, neurotoxin. So bite will affect breathing immediately. Your tissues will be damaged almost instantaneously. Could cause respiratory failure and death within a little while. Very much local swelling and pain, as they talk about. They're night-dwelling creatures, so be careful where you go out there. And, how did this get out is the question. How did this person have it? Did somebody let it out? Or did it naturally escape? See what I did there? You guys have a good weekend. We'll do it again on Monday. As always, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.